All right, everybody, welcome to the second video for the PACRats. And you know what? It's not video. It's just audio with some pictures. And you're only getting one half of the PACRats today because Ian cannot be here. So it's just me, Frankie, with three guests. And why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Oh, okay. I'm Katie.
Great.
I'm Haley.
I'm Alex.
All right, so this video, to date it, because that's how all good YouTubers work, this podcast
There we go.
is January 31st, because Kingdom Hearts came out a couple days ago. And the other day at lunch, we were all talking about Kingdom Hearts, and I was explaining the story, and I was like, wait a second, I need to record these reactions, because, I don't know, the three of you were just shocked by the nonsense that is the story of Kingdom Hearts. So
She's never played.
I mean,
but she knows
okay,
the story.
so I know some of the nonsense just from like offhanded reviews and just being on Tumblr in general.
and then Haley, how much? Yeah, I didn't want to start out. Haley, how much do you know about Kingdom Hearts?
Not really much of anything. I've seen some gameplay, but nothing of the story.
And Alex?
I know what you told me on that day.
Okay, so
Big ol' fat goose egg.
we're going to start a little review of what happened that day, and hopefully this first part of the video that we're recording, our podcast, is going to just go from Kingdom Hearts 1 to Kingdom Hearts 2, which is not straightforward at all, because there's so many games in between. We're going to try and do it in order of how the games came out, but one of the games will have to be switched because it takes place at the same time as another game, but it came out after Kingdom Hearts 2, and you'll understand nothing of Kingdom Hearts 2 unless you're like looking at the story of this game beforehand, so fuck it. So, Kingdom Hearts first. What is a heart? They do not mean your literal heart pumping in your chest. They mean sort of a soul, but it's not a soul because there are also souls in Kingdom Hearts. They actually mean like your emotions and like friendship and love and hatred.
So I don't have any of that.
Talking about you.
This is so weird to me. Like, why call it a heart then? If it, like, just call it who thought this up? Call it something else.
So you can also lose your heart. Your heart can be taken out of your chest, but you don't die. We'll get into that in a little bit. What happens when you lose your heart? Another thing you gotta know: dark equals bad, light equals good. There's no.
This is the only thing that's going to make sense in the entirety of this.
Yes.
I understand this.
There is no in
Okay.
between in this.
Is
This
this
is-
question going to be on the test?
This is
Is that
very,
good, that
very typical of JRPG. There's usually such a very strict line between, the bad guys and the good guys.
Yeah, it's very strict that dark is bad, light is good. There's no in between. The villains are always talking about how darkness is the right way to do things, and the heroes are always talking about how light is the right way to do things.
But you always need a good anti-villain.
There is a good anti-hero. You'll meet him.
There we go.
So, what happens when you lose your heart? Now, the first thing that happens, as introduced, you can tell on the... Now, I'm using visual aids that will be in the podcast. The pictures will be uploaded along with the audio tracks, so you'll be able to see what everyone is reacting to. So, on the right side, you see what is called a heartless. This is the most basic kind of heartless. There are other kinds, but this is the most basic thing.
It's kind of cute.
I've seen that little fucker around before.
Now, they're just introduced in the first game, and that's your villain in the first game. Like, you're like... The ones you just find everywhere, the Heartless.
That looks like a Jawa without the cape.
So they're like slimes.
It does.
They're like really low level.
It's the eyes, but the
Oh,
head
guys.
just looks like the Jawa face.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just do on like the little cape and it'd be like adorable.
It does. So when you lose your heart, you become a heart. A Heartless is formed, and that's that.
Makes sense.
That's that. Now later, they introduce the concept of nobodies, which are what are on the left side.
They look horrifying. Can I just say that real fast?
So later on, they also introduce that when you lose your heart, you become one part of the Putty Patrol.
The
Which
Putty
one?
Patrol.
From Power Rangers. Y'all remember the Putty Patrol from
Oh.
Power Rangers?
No.
No.
They were the little gray monsters, that were, and then like
Okay, what Power Rangers is
this
this?
is the original Mighty Morphin Power
Really?
Rangers, the
Okay,
fucking
I've
Putty
never
Patrol.
heard of these things.
Yes, I've watched.
That's what they are, basically. Now, however, if you are strong-willed, you will keep your body, but you'll be a nobody
Will is strong.
that feels no emotions. However, whenever you meet them in the game, these fuckers are full of emotions. They are just full of every emotion possible.
So hypocritical.
So it's just bullshit.
Yes.
Good to know.
They are always angry or like happy or making friends. They have no emotions though. None
And
whatsoever.
Good figures.
What?
Good figures. Look at it. It's
They
a
do have
stick.
good figures. They are very
It
skinny.
is a stick.
He
Goals.
looks. His face is so.
That's
look-
like me when I walk out of a final. I'm just like,
It looks more like a stone statue, but more fluid and like size -3.
So these guys aren't introduced until Kingdom Hearts 2. But they are important to like the rules.
2 meaning number 2 or the
Number
second
2.
game?
Number 2.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts number 2. So
So, like,
they're very important to like the overall story because of the events that happen in Kingdom Hearts 1 and the people that you meet in the game that comes after Chain of Memories. So they're very important to know what a nobody is. Now, the other rule with these guys is if you kill the nobody and the heartless that was created by the person, their heart is freed and they become whole again and they become known as a somebody.
okay.
Yeah.
So you would become yourself again, basically.
What's the hand?
They don't have hands.
He's got little pokies.
Yeah, it's just like
They're just gonna stab
It's
you.
just
Yeah.
just like
Mhm.
stab.
So all of that basic information takes us into the first Kingdom Hearts game,
Okay.
where we have our 3 heroes that we meet on Destiny Islands.
These
Sora,
feet.
they have huge ass feet.
Yeah.
What?
Sora is your typical hero who has struggles. He's on the
He
very
looks-
left, yes.
He looks pretty bland.
He is bland, but he's dumb, he's naive.
I mean,
He-
to be fair, out of this picture, the middle one kind of screams main character because the hair color's
He
out
is
here.
not. So yeah, the middle one is Riku, who is not the main character and is actually like an antagonist in the first game. But we'll get into what happens
He
with him.
screams like.
He's the emo of the group.
Yeah, no,
Also,
he
he's,
screams
like,
like
fucking
emo
weird.
man crush.
How old are these kids?
They are super young at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts. So
The old.
they're like, I want to say 12 or 13.
He's
11,
rich for a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I've seen these guys on Tumblr, and I know Sora, and I know the girl Kairi.
Yeah, the girl is Kairi. Now,
But-
Kairi is boring. And
No,
she has been boring the entire series.
She looks it.
And she will probably continue to be boring in Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't know yet, but she's so boring all the fucking time. So what happens is Sora is separated by from his 2 friends and finds himself in a stained glass void. So you're on this platform made of stained glass that look like the Disney princesses. Because this is Disney
I've
meets
seen-
Final
I've
Fantasy.
seen gameplay of this.
Right.
He ends up...
My one friend did a Kingdom Hearts D&D one-shot one time.
Oh, that would be fun.
I'm gonna have to opt
So-
out on that one, fam.
So...
Yeah, it was a little out there.
He ends up being swallowed up by a monstrous creature, and he wakes up on the beach with Kairi, and it was a nightmare. It was all a dream. So then Riku is saying to them, hey, let's build a raft to get off this island and explore new worlds.
Raft.
Yeah, a raft. So what you'll learn later on, but it's kind of important. Riku and Sora grew up on the island together, and Kairi moved to the island after her world was destroyed. We don't know that yet. We do know though that she has moved to the island. She wasn't born there like Riku and Sora.
Okay.
So you have other like Final Fantasy people, child versions of them, and like you can fight them. And like one of them throws a fucking jump rope at you, and one of them throws balls at you, and you fight with wooden swords. As Riku is holding in the picture, and then one night, Sora's mom's like, "Hey Sora." You never see the mom. You hear her, but you never see her. Hey, Sora, come down for dinner. And then a bunch of monsters show up. But while Sora...
A Disney movie. It's not a Disney movie unless the mom dies.
The mom... You never know what happens to the mom.
She's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead.
So wait, but first, before that, I did forget an important thing. One night, while Sora's fetching supplies for the raft and their adventure, he encounters a mysterious hooded figure in a secret cave who says that his world has been connected and tied to the darkness, and then he leaves.
What is it with hooded figures
Scooby.
being edgy in caves? Like, do not.
It's a stereotype.
I have to say, like, this is all very stereotypical JRPG so far.
Yeah.
Like, especially the whole, like, childhood friends thing and the, oh, it was a dream right at the start. Like, that is
It wasn't a dream, it was a nightmare.
Whatever, it's so typical.
So then,
I know.
after the shadow creatures show up, which were the Heartless that we showed you, Sora seeks out his friends and finds Riku. And there's this huge portal of darkness on the island where they're standing. And Riku's like, hey, maybe I should step into this darkness portal. And he does.
Rule number
my
one.
God.
I don't know what this is.
Are we
Let me jump into
Wait,
it.
are we sure the main character's the dumb one? Because that sounds pretty stupid.
And then Sora gets the Keyblade, which he's holding in his hand in the picture.
Is it just like,
Randomly.
It just appears in his hand.
Okay.
I wish this was in my hands.
And he ends up fighting off all the creatures that are there, and he goes to the secret cave, and he finds Kairi near a door that appeared in the cave.
Randomly just gets all the skill in how to use a sword.
And this, yeah, basically. This door blows open and sends Kairi phasing through Sora. She phases through
Phases
Sora.
through.
what?
Mm.
Was that like glitch?
Okay,
or...
I'm pretty sure physics just died at that point.
And then it's not a glitch. It's not a glitch at all. Then that same creature that fought Sora in his nightmare shows up. Sora fights him, and then gravity sucks Sora up into the sky.
That's how gravity
Everything
works.
goes up.
Gravity is broken.
That is how I use that wording because that's how it was worded in the wiki. So I thought it would be great to just use that.
You heard it here, folks. Gravity goes up.
And then the islands are destroyed.
I guess everyone just died.
Well, so I mean, straight up, his mom's dead. So
She wasn't dead before, and now she's definitely
she's
dead.
really dead
So
now.
all of that darkness, and then we cut to
Light.
Mickey's World! Yay! So King Mickey Mouse has disappeared.
He's the king.
He's the king of his
Of
world.
course he is.
Okay.
Okay.
Mickey left because he has to deal with the increasing power of darkness, and he left a letter for Donald, who's the mage of the group, and Goofy, who's the knight, saying, find the key. So Donald and
Really? You leave the kingdom in the hands of...
These two.
These
Donald and
two.
Goofy, yeah,
They're
of
his
course.
best friends. Even if they're incompetent, you still trust them.
So Donald and Goofy
Oh, no, I'm being incompetent part.
use a gummy ship
Gummy.
to
Like-
travel to
like
Wait, like a
gummy worms?
worms. Yes,
Oh, okay.
they're made out of gummy blocks.
I was
Okay.
thinking just running around like a gummy bear.
That was
works.
also
mean-
my image.
So they travel to a place called Traverse Town, where Sora has also ended up.
Magically.
So Sora finds
Fate.
the Heartless
Fate.
again. Yeah, it's all about destiny too. This game.
That's what JRPGs do. It's destiny this, fate that.
So he finds the Heartless again, and eventually this man named Leon, who's the guy on the left,
It's a Final Fantasy.
He looks like a
These are
Bleach
Final
character.
Fantasy
Yeah, I was
characters.
just gonna say.
Leon, who his real name is Squall in his Final Fantasy game, which is Final Fantasy VIII.
Well,
But he changes his name to Leon, and we don't have time to get into why, because that's the whole fucking plot of Final Fantasy VIII, which also doesn't make sense, so his name is Leon.
it's a better name.
No wonder he's in this game. because
Square
nothing makes
Enix's
sense.
games generally don't make sense.
So Leon's like, hey, the Keyblade chose you, huh? Guess I'm gonna fight you. And so he fight. So
I'm
you
just gonna
fight.
fuck up this 12-year-old.
Yeah, there it
His
is.
sword is also a gun, by the way. So you fight Leon,
It's
and
like straight out of Ruby. All right.
you don't have to beat him, but it's fun to beat him. And then, no matter what happens though in the fight, Sora passes out.
Wow.
I mean, he's a 12-year-old,
He
and
can
then
handle
this
it.
grown
And then
man just came.
It finds
with
out
a
they
gun
separate
sword.
the Keyblade from Sora, and Sora. They find that whenever he's holding the Keyblade, the Heartless can track him through the power of the Keyblade. But the Keyblade has chosen Sora because when Leon tries to wield it, it dematerializes from his hand and appears in Sora's hand.
Oh my god, so dumb.
So that's where he learns. That's where he learns that the Heartless. Also, if you guys have any questions throughout as I'm explaining this, please ask. I can't guarantee an answer, but I will try. So Leon explains that the Heartless consume hearts. And the Keyblade is the only weapon that can defeat them. And Sora has been chosen to wield the Keyblade. I emphasize that as an important point.
Chosen one.
So the King of Leon's homeworld, a man named Ansem, was said to have studied the Heartless, but he disappeared when their world got destroyed. That's why they're in Traverse Town. Traverse Town is kind of the place where you go when your world gets destroyed.
So how many worlds are left at this point?
Oh, there's a good amount, but like when you get to the end of the game, you see remnants of all the worlds that have been destroyed, and there's a lot more of them.
It goes from 1 million to like 7.
No.
So at the same time, Donald and Goofy are approached by Aerith, who is the girl on the right, and she is from Final Fantasy VII,
Which looks like Zelda.
Are those ears or is she?
No, those
wearing
are bows.
That's a bow.
It's like
Okay.
a big bow.
and says
Her hair, how does it...
that they're looking for the Keyblade.
It's gravity defying. Okay, we already
It's like
established.
Gravity
so much
goes up.
hair.
Gravity goes up.
She looks like she has antlers like in her bangs.
Well, like,
us
I literally thought she
defying
was
the
gonna be.
laws of nature.
I thought she was gonna be like some sort of nymph or something
No.
with the freaking big ears and the like.
Does she pull him with juice and like control her hair?
Maybe.
Please.
She's just a girl.
She's just a girl.
Yeah, that's also common in Final Fantasy, especially. Is like there's just one character that's just a girl.
So then Sora and Donald and Goofy all run into each other, and the three work together to take down a boss. You do a boss battle, and then they decide to travel together.
Woo!
So Donald and Goofy are traveling to find Mickey, and Sora is going to try and find Kairi and Riku. And through this, they go through all the various Disney worlds.
So this is literally the world's longest D&D campaign.
Yes. Now, they go through a bunch of Disney worlds, which are fun to do, because you get to play like Tarzan and Alice in Wonderland and Nightmare Before Christmas, but none of them fucking matter at all. Because none of the story that happens in there is just the movie story somehow shoved in the Kingdom Hearts story.
This is
So
very badly written self-insert fanfiction is what I'm getting.
That's
It was more of
exactly
they
what-
ran out of ideas, so they said, hey, what can we throw into here just to prolong the game?
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's a Final Fantasy Disney crossover self-insert fic.
It is, yes.
Oh my god. All right.
So- So what they find, though, in all of these worlds is that the Keyblade can lock keyholes, which are the passages that the Heartless are using to get into the world. So the goal in every world is to find the keyhole of the world and lock it.
We're still in game 1, right?
This is still game one, yeah.
Okay, this is all game one.
Okay.
So the main villain at this point, what you think is the main villain, is Maleficent
Yep.
from Sleeping Beauty.
Queen.
And she is leading what is called by fans the Council of Disney Villains,
Oh, hell
which
yeah.
include Hades, Ursula, Captain Hook, Jafar, and Oogie Boogie.
Called by fans?
Yeah. They don't actually call themselves that in the game, but the fans have decided to call them the Council of Disney Villains.
I mean, valid.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the first game, the Rogues Gallery for Disney, kind of matters. The second game on, they don't fucking... No one gives a shit. But the first game, they kind of matter. They got some meetings going on, and they hide them in the shadows, so you're not 100% sure. You got to try and tell by the voices.
There's no Final Fantasy villain in this league?
Okay, so
Here's my question.
Hades, in his world, hires Cloud from Final Fantasy VII.
Who's not a villain, by the way.
He's not a villain, but he hires Cloud to kill Hercules. So eventually you fight Cloud, but then Cloud's just like, I'm done with
Wait,
you, Hades.
Hades
So
is the god of death. Why does he need to hire someone to fucking kill someone?
because you can't kill Hercules, because Hercules is a demigod, so you gotta hire someone else who's a god killer, namely Cloud,
I
to
guess.
kill a god.
Fair enough. You know what? They kill a lot of gods in Final Fantasy.
And Sephiroth shows up as like an alternative boss.
He has the longest sword in the world.
It does. He does. He has the longest
It
sword.
is so long. I have never seen such a long sword in a fantasy series in my life.
So you fight all of these characters throughout the game.
Who's the hardest?
Maleficent,
I mean,
because
yeah.
her first fight is she's on a floating platform that you have to destroy the platform to bring it down so you can jump onto it and fight her. At the same time, she's summoning meteors and other enemies to fight you. But then her second form, she's the dragon form of Maleficent.
yes,
So you
that is
fight.
good.
Yeah, that's a typical.
So
boss battle.
these sound like
These are
Zelda
the Payment at the
level
Dragon.
bosses,
Yeah,
where it's like every boss has some kind of kooky mechanic you have to figure out to beat them.
And
or
there's like
something.
always a second phase where they either
Yeah.
change tactics or they change.
Well, that's really
Right,
typical
so back to
JRPG too.
So these villains are seeking out what is called who are a group of people called the Seven Princesses of Heart, to unlock a keyhole that leads to Kingdom Hearts, which is the source of all hearts.
Roll credits.
Yeah. So the Seven Princesses of Heart are Disney princesses? Okay, so you got Snow White,
Yeah,
classic.
princess, yeah.
Cinderella,
Princess.
classic. Belle,
Yeah.
classic. Aurora,
Uh-huh.
classic. Jasmine, princess.
Yeah.
Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
I don't really know.
Didn't know she was a fucking princess, but okay. And Kyrie is a princess of heart.
Well, of course it has to loop back there.
It does. So what you find out is that the princesses of heart are completely innocent. Their hearts are completely full of light, and there's not even a drop of darkness in
I
there.
beg to disagree with Alice in Wonderland because
No.
Did
that
we see
entire
Alice?
story is just like
Okay.
a drug trip.
Did we talk about Alice the Madness Returns?
Alice is completely good. No.
Okay.
Whatever you say, Disney.
Disney has determined.
House of Mouse has
I'll
ruled.
take that roll of your eyes and just pull it down a little more.
Yeah. Mickey has ruled that Alice is the purest of them all.
I think Mickey's more on drugs than the rest of them. First
So-
of all.
Riku ends up joining the group because Maleficent promises that she will help him find Kyrie, while also showing him that Sora, he's got new friends now, Donald and Goofy. Why the fuck would he want to hang out with you? He's hanging out with a talking duck and dog.
Some very hardcore furry role players.
Can I prefer Pluto?
Oh, Pluto is in the game.
Oh,
good,
that's fun.
Good.
Pluto shows up in the game. He's the one who wakes up Sora in Traverse Town and then just disappears
Oh,
for the rest of the game.
Bye, Pluto.
Okay, bye.
Until the very
Good
end.
cameo. It's like a Stan Lee cameo.
Basically.
So then, Riku ends up finding Kyrie, but her heart is missing.
Gas boo.
Okay.
So Sora and his friends eventually arrive at Hollow Bastion, the home world of Ansem, and all the Final Fantasy characters, and the headquarters of Maleficent.
Okay.
But
I guess she
She's
moved.
not even in the right universe.
She moved into Final Fantasy Land
Yeah.
It's like,
recently.
look out, guys! I'm
It's the
moving
greatest
here.
cover. You would never expect to find it there.
that's true.
Weather's lovely. Neighborhood's great.
Crime is low.
So then you have a speech by Riku, and Riku says,
Speech, you mean the
Sora,
monologue.
yeah, Sora, you were just a delivery boy, and that the Keyblade is actually mine. And guess what? The Keyblade goes to Riku.
Wait.
And then Donald and Goofy, who were told to follow the key, are like, bye, Sora, and they follow Riku.
What assholes?
Remember, incompetent.
Great
Valid.
friends. 10 out of 10.
And Riku says, hey, if you want to fight me, here's a weapon, and tosses down a fucking wooden sword from the beginning of the game. So at this point, it's you with no weapon, because you can't fight the Heartless without the Keyblade, and
The wooden
Beast.
sword.
No, only the Keyblade. Remember, only the Keyblade can destroy the Heartless.
It's still a weapon.
Except for Beast can also destroy the Heartless. Because you're traveling with Beast from Beauty and the Beast, who just fucking tears them apart.
I'm just gonna stand here and let you handle
So basically, for a portion of the game, you
Should I
just
play
go,
as Beast instead.
it. Please.
no, you just stand back and let Beast destroy everyone, and then you find all
He's
like,
your Final Fantasy summon.
no, but he's not a summon, he's
No,
just
I
hanging
know,
out.
but that's basically what he does.
Because you do get summons in this game.
Of course you do.
So you can summon Simba, adult Simba.
I was just gonna say, summon Cub Simba, and she's gonna be like, what?
You summon Genie.
Okay.
You can
Robin
summon
Williams.
Dumbo.
Hell yeah.
You can summon Bambi.
Why?
Bambi.
What is Bambi gonna do?
What
him
Bambi does?
alive.
Bambi just like spawns like health orbs, or not even health orbs, magic orbs. So you
Bambi
can
should be like
replenish
a
your magic
princess
orbs.
of hearts.
Yeah, yeah.
Give him a princess.
Bambi's purer than fucking Alice.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Bambi's
Mushu is a summon.
Yes!
He acts like basically a machine gun that can just shoot fire at people.
That's fun.
Right there.
And Tinkerbell is a
Oh,
summon.
fucking god.
And Tinkerbell just heals you constantly, so she's
Okay.
actually the best summon
Oh,
in the
okay.
game.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, but
I was
it's
gonna say,
Tinkerbell.
Hey,
She's
don't
like-
diss on that pixie magic.
No.
So Sora makes it through Hollow Bastion and challenges Riku again, stating that his heart gets strength from his friends.
Oh,
but they left you.
It all abandoned you.
And Donald and Goofy return to him, and so does the Keyblade.
Oh my god.
Riku, who's feeling quite ashamed at this
Power
point,
of friendship.
runs away and meets a cloaked man who tells him to give in to the darkness. So then
Come
you
to the
have
dark side.
the fight with
peace.
Maleficent, and you encounter the new Riku, who has the Keyblade of Hearts. So this is new Riku.
He looks like
He's
even more of an
worse.
It looks the
emo.
same, but in
He
darker
kind of looks like
colors.
he's
Wait,
wearing.
is that a pattern on his like shirt, or is that like an
no, that's a
8-pack?
pattern on his shirt.
He kind of looks like that. Kind of almost looks like Nightwing's costume.
It does.
Yeah.
So he leads them to Kyrie's
Batman.
body, because she's living, but she doesn't have a heart.
Yeah.
But she has like a beating heart, but she doesn't have her heart, so she can't feel anything.
Mhm.
And
But she's
Riku,
like a-
Esoteric
she's like a-
heart.
Riku reveals that he's been completely possessed by Ansem.
Okay.
Y'all remember Ansem?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Final
Ansem
Fantasy.
Ansem was the ruler of this
Final
world
Fantasy.
before.
Yeah, Final Fantasy bullshit.
I don't know that either.
So, well, he's not a Final Fantasy character. Ansem was a created character.
Ah.
He was the ruler of Final Fantasy world, and he was researching Heartless.
Okay, but he's from Final Fantasy bullshit universe.
Yeah. So then Ansem explains that Kyrie is the last princess of Heart, and that her missing heart has been trapped in Sora's body.
As you do.
This is the glitch thing.
So when Kyrie phased through Sora, her heart went to the safest location, which was inside Sora's body.
What?
Ah, see, now that makes sense. Here, let me just go
Yeah, so if
through-
somebody just phases through me, they're gonna like take my heart or whatever.
Well, no.
As if you have one.
Hush you.
So Sora beats Ansem up, but he can't seal Hollow Bastion's keyhole because Kyrie's heart is still in his body and the keyhole's still locked. So what happens is he uses Ansem's Keyblade, the Keyblade of Hearts, to unlock his heart, releasing both his and Kyrie's heart, but turning him into a Heartless.
So he commits
So he's
seppuku to save his
suicide.
waifu.
Yeah.
This is some fucking love triangle.
The
So-
noble deed.
So then Kyrie's heart returns to her body, completing the keyhole, but then she recognizes Sora in Heartless form and gives him a hug, and he becomes Sora again.
It's the power
Okay,
of friendship.
That's also a really big JRPG
Yeah, I'm
thing.
just like looking at this. I'm like, first of all, how does she recognize him? He just kind of
Fate,
looks like the rest of them.
Destiny,
Love.
friendship, love, yeah.
And then
It's very JRPG.
so they say they're gonna stop Ansem now. Ansem now looks like this, by the way. He's taken over Riku's body, and
Oh,
this is
and-
what he
aged him immeasurably.
This
Jesus
is Ansem.
fucking Christ.
Here's your fan service.
I'm good. I'm still 12.
Still 12.
So Ansem retreated to the end of the
Oh
world,
my gosh.
which are the fragments of the worlds that were destroyed by the Heartless. And they pursue him and find him at the world's core that is formed from the ruins of Destiny Island. So basically, it's just like a burning version of Destiny Island.
Noted.
So Ansem explains that Riku viewed the island as a prison and yearned to be free, which made him vulnerable to the darkness.
What, wanting to leave home makes you vulnerable to the dark side?
Yeah. And
Oh, crap, we're
he
all vulnerable.
He delivers, and I quote from the wiki, a short sermon
That's a short
He's a
sermon.
preacher now.
about the heart's connection to darkness before attacking, and he gets beaten back, and he falls into the abyss surrounding the door to darkness,
The void of nothingness.
where he declares his intention to claim Kingdom Hearts for himself and merges with his battleship to become part of a ship.
Murder
Wait a
in a
minute.
battleship?
No, wait a minute. What happened to Riku?
That is Riku,
Is-
but
it's like-
Ansem's
so
completely...
now Riku is also phased into this battleship?
Ansem, yeah, I guess so.
Where's his shirt?
He doesn't have one!
Put a shirt on! You're 12.
So, and the ship is called the World of Chaos. And so you
Edge
fight
Lord.
him,
This is all very Final Fantasy.
and Ansem gets beaten, and he reaches out to Kingdom Hearts, begging for it to empower him with its darkness, but then Sora goes and gives a little speech, and he goes, Kingdom Hearts isn't darkness, Kingdom Hearts is light, and the door opens, and the light fucking destroys Ansem.
As you
That's
do.
it.
Yeah, that's the end. He got vaporized.
Poof.
Bye, Riku.
So, well, wait.
There's more.
Wait, there's more. Beyond the door pops out Mickey with no shirt for some reason. He's not wearing a shirt.
Okay, so wait.
We'll go back to the
As in-
picture.
as in, hold
He's
on.
clearly wearing a shirt in the picture. And then when you meet him again, he's not wearing a shirt.
So
Fan
wait,
service
he was
for the furry.
like in the Kingdom Hearts door? Or
They were
like-
inside that door.
Okay.
So, but you know who else is there? It's Riku!
Oh, okay, why?
So, when Riku was possessed by Ansem, he went to the world of darkness, and Mickey found him in the world of darkness and freed him from the world of darkness, which led them to the door to Kingdom Hearts,
What
which is
was
how to
Mickey
get
doing
out
in
of the world of darkness.
How'd they get there in the
We'll
first
explain
place?
that later. Well, Riku got there because he was possessed by darkness by
Yeah.
Ansem. Mickey will explain in a later game.
Mickey
Oh,
was
okay.
also possessed by darkness, which is why he left Goofy and Donald in trouble.
So they help Sora. They help Sora close the door, but Riku and Mickey have to remain inside to seal it.
Of course.
Riku asks Sora to take care of Kairi, and then Mickey and Sora use their Keyblades to lock the door. Because Mickey also has a Keyblade.
So there's 3 of them now?
Well, the other one's been destroyed, so there's 2 Keyblades now.
No, everyone
Okay.
has one except the main character.
Yeah, no one has one. Sora was chosen to have the Keyblade, but Mickey has one too.
No, the one thing I
They
do
go
know-
on at the beginning of this game too about like there only being one Keyblade, and then
But
Mickey
clearly
just shows up with a
There's
Keyblade.
multiple.
I've heard, like, one of the main things I've heard about Kingdom Hearts is, like, people making fun of the fact that, like, there's only one wielder for the Keyblade, but then there's, like, actually, like, a billion of them.
Oh, we're gonna meet some more. We're gonna meet some more soon. People after this game just start popping up wielding
Okay, so
Keyblades.
they tell you you're the only wielder of the Keyblade, so you feel good about yourself, and then they're
Probably.
like, psych, there's actually more of you,
There's
you
gonna
suck.
be more
That's
people.
why you're special, but other people also have your special power.
There's gonna be people popping up with Keyblades. There's gonna be people dual wielding Keyblades at one point. So we're fine.
Wow, you can just
That'd
go to
be-
Walmart and pick up these fucking things up.
Yeah,
So
they're
then-
$1, they're in the clearance aisle.
So the destroyed world start to rebuild themselves.
As you do.
And Kairi is pulled back to Destiny Islands. But Sora promises before they separate that they will all reunite someday. And then Sora, Donald, and Goofy are like, we're going to find Riku and Mickey. That's what we got to do next. Yeah?
So was she from Destiny Island? Is that
No,
the original, or was she just there?
no. So they say again, there's a rule they set up in the game where it's like once the worlds are revived, you'll go back to where you're from. She's from Hollow Bastion, and even if we don't know that, we do know she's not from Destiny Islands, but she ends up on Destiny Islands.
Plot hole.
And Sora, who is from Destiny Islands, ends up in Mickey's world.
Somebody broke some shit.
So-
You're not allowed to change locations. You can change your address.
That's true, but like
No.
the rules, the worlds are separated. By the way, so like before the darkness started invading, you couldn't go to another world
Rude.
because they were blocked off. So then
That's segregation.
they're in Mickey's world, and Pluto appears with a letter from Mickey in his mouth. Don't know how he got the letter from Mickey, who's in the world of darkness.
Wait. How can Pluto teleport to these places?
It's because Pluto is a trans-dimensional being that is not beholden to the laws of the universe. He
But
can
still
just
can't
go
speak.
wherever he wants.
Yeah,
exactly.
they
Are we sure he's God?
He is God.
Okay.
Dude,
Pluto is God.
If Pluto isn't the final boss for Kingdom Hearts 3, I will be highly disappointed. So then, in the final scene, the narrator, who is in the beginning of the game, he's not important at the beginning, but he's here at the end, he goes, Sora's destiny is to open the door to light. And then Kairi on Destiny Islands finds a drawing in the secret cave of Sora giving her a Palpu fruit, which the Palpu fruit, if you eat a piece of Palpu fruit from the same Palpu fruit with another person who eats the same piece of Palpu fruit, then your destinies are intertwined.
Oh, yeah, wait, I heard about these. They look like stars, right?
So yeah. So Sora drew when they were kids, they drew their faces on the wall, and then Sora drew him giving Palpu fruit to Kairi, and Kairi sees this and she cries, and then she draws herself giving Palpu fruit to Sora.
This is some love triangle shit.
And then
Girl.
Give you my fruit.
1 year later, if you beat the game completely, like 100% at all, you get a cutscene for 1 year later. In a strange city, there's this weird boy wielding 2 keyblades,
As you do.
and Riku shows up demanding to know where Sora is. And that's the end of Kingdom Hearts 1.
No, wait. How did he get out of?
It doesn't matter.
We're going to figure that out. So,
That's why there's 20 games to go between 1 and 2.
I'm
so what would the next game be? It would be coming out. So Kingdom Hearts 1 came out in 2002. The next game comes out 2 years later. That game came out in 2002 on the PlayStation 2. The next game comes out in 2004 on the Game Boy Advance. So,
Jumping entire systems.
Thanks.
Jesus
jumping
Christ.
entire systems to say, fuck you.
How do you go from Sony? This was a Sony exclusive, right?
Yeah.
How do you go from Sony exclusive to the fucking Game Boy Advance?
Whoever pays the most.
Now remember, now Kingdom Hearts, the original plays like a traditional, not traditional, but like what we now know is a JRPG or RPG where you can just tap a button to throw attacks or magic or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is a card-based game
Jesus
where
fucking
you
Christ.
use a deck of cards to fight people.
So Yu-Gi-Oh.
No,
Yeah.
No gambit.
No, yeah, well, you use the cards, and they have different logos on the cards, and some are healing cards, and some are attack
This isn't
cards.
Magic the
So
fucking
it's either
Gathering.
Magic the Gathering or
Video game.
Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean,
It's a card-based battle system.
Why would I want to play cards while I'm playing a video game?
so basically Disney's getting really ambitious with crossovers.
Yeah, so this is the last time they did that for
I can
Kingdom
see
Hearts.
God, you want
I
to
Once
watch.
and
I
only.
can't imagine why.
And what system was that on?
The Game Boy Advance. And it is a 2D game, but they did make a 3D version for the HD remakes that they released
Okay.
in 1.5.
Yeah.
So, what we have here, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are walking down a long path that seemingly goes nowhere.
And young Yugi shows up and teaches them.
Yeah, and then Pluto shows up, and they start to follow Pluto. So they lead to a crossroads, and while they're trying to figure out which path to take, this mysterious man in a black cloak shows up.
Hey, this picture game.
Is it the hooded dude from the first one?
But they can't understand what he's saying.
Oh, is this where the cult robes come in?
Yeah, this is where the cult robes come in. But we will explain what they mean later.
Oh, it's a cult. You always need a good
Of
cult.
course there's a cult.
And when he starts speaking, the two paths become one. And it leads them to Castle Oblivion.
That's the ominous all.
Okay, that looks kind of edgy. You're
It
trying
is.
too hard.
But she would live there.
I would live there.
And so the cloaked man appears again and hands them a card, and they use the card to proceed through the castle. So this entire game, you're going up through the floors of the castle,
Keycard.
Ew,
So like
boring.
SAO.
basically.
Worse.
So, but you're also traveling to a bunch of the worlds that you went to in the first game, because retreads.
They were out of ideas.
Now, I will say this. This is one of the last games, I think, to have the Tarzan world, because the rights to Tarzan left Disney, went back to the original author's estate, and Disney wasn't able to get any of the rights back, so none of the future games have Tarzan involved.
Oops.
So the first world they go back to Traverse Town, where they discover that Leon and Aerith don't remember them at all.
Oh, those are
Oh,
those Final Fantasy.
two people that
fuckers
were on
from-
Yeah, the Final Fantasy characters who are there. They don't remember Sora or Donald or Goofy. But they do remember their names. They don't remember who they are, but they remember the names.
This is all very JRPG.
And
Cults.
one of the characters who I didn't
All that
show
shit.
before, because she's not really important to the story, Yuffie, mentions that her heart still holds memories of them, even if her head doesn't.
What the fuck?
So memories can also be in your heart.
No. Yuffie.
Okay,
Yuffie.
so your heart is it's a
It's
mess.
look, it's just your soul, but
No, it's
I
not
feel-
your soul.
I feel
No,
like
your heart is not your
Your
soul.
heart is literally hormones. That's literally what this is.
So you get a tutorial on how to fight there, and you get a summon card, and you leave. Okay. The cloaked man from before appears again,
This edgelord.
but then a second cloaked man also appears
it's called
and introduces himself as Axel.
Clown Man.
That is Axel, who will become very, very important very, very quickly.
Yeah,
His
I've
eyes are,
I've
like,
seen this
super
guy
intense.
around.
Jeez.
Axel will become, spoiler alert, the anti-hero of the franchise.
There you go. Note.
So there's your anti-hero, Axel. But right now
I
he's a
don't like that.
fucking villain. So he challenges Sora to a battle, and Sora beats him. And they go through each floor, they're reliving their memories. But they're all distorted memories. And
Of course.
they begin to lose their original memories.
What?
There we go.
Okay.
That's classic.
So they start trying to piece together all of their distorted memories and discover that a nobody Remember, nobodies are the what's left of the body
Yeah.
when the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, the point,
Named
dude.
nominee.
Nominate. I nominate.
Has been reorganizing their memories at the orders.
That's nominate.
Yeah, that's nominee.
Her
Okay.
legs are too long. They're scaring me.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So she's been.
But she's wearing white.
Mhm.
White is light.
Yeah. But she's working under the orders of Marluxia.
See, there's wait.
Another nobody.
Pause.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the sword that we're looking at
It's
here.
a scythe, first
It's,
off.
No, it's a sword with a
it's
sword.
basically
It's
sword
a
on
spear with
stick.
a sword.
It's a sword on a
There's
stick.
the spear.
It's a
There's
scythe.
the sword.
It's a sword on a stick.
It's a
That's
scythe.
exactly what that is.
So Marluxia is another nobody.
That's a nobody.
Okay.
That's a
I
nobody.
don't know, buddy.
Is he
No,
nobody of the
remember,
movie just-
that was a nobody of the people of Axel. No, Axel is also a nobody.
What?
No, Frankie said, remember he said,
If you are strong-willed,
Yeah.
you can become a nobody with your body.
So basically, they're just people who have become, like, corrupted by evil since they defy the game's own rules of not having emotions, but they
Yeah.
do have emotions.
You will find out.
Nothing makes sense.
So this organization
Yeah.
is called Organization 13.
That's stupid.
Because 13 is an unlucky
Terrible.
number, so of course.
And you're going to find out more about them later
It's like
as
some
well.
kids.
But you'll also find out
Kid named it.
why these members are in there. Because they're all in there for a specific reason. And why they are nobodies. Okay. So Marluxia was the one who led them to the castle. Was the hooded figure that they had kept meeting. Yeah. So, well, she. Because
She.
her overall plan
I don't see any-
is to replace Sora's memories with her in the place of Kairi.
Ew.
Ew.
He's like
Ew.
12. How old
Some
is this
Yagura
bitch?
shit.
Wait, and this way, that'll make him more compliant to listen to Organization 13 because he'll think he's in love with her, and since she's a member, they can order him around to do things.
Y'all put way too
How
much
old
faith
is
in
this
12-year-old.
woman? This is pedophilia, Frankie.
I
This
don't-
game is significantly worse so
Disney,
far.
stop.
This game is significantly worse so far.
Please stop.
We're not even halfway through it.
Oh,
I know.
no.
I don't know if Marluxia has like an age. She is number 11 in the organization,
This is like Conan
and
Kids
she's
Next Door
she's
now.
known as the graceful assassin.
Wait, is number 1 the top or number 13 the top?
Number 1 would probably be the top.
I think it's number 1, but I'm not 100% sure. If we're going back to Axel, Axel is number 8, and he's the flurry of dancing flames.
Stupid.
It sounds like a drama queen.
These sound like drag queen names.
Honestly, yes.
So Sora is fighting Heartless and members of Organization 13, including these two who he beats. On the left, you have Larzine, who she's number 12, and she's the savage nymph.
Yeah, literally,
Wow.
this is RuPaul's Drag Race.
And
Why is
Yeah.
everyone? I mean, okay, I know I watch a lot of anime. I know anime hair defies logic, but
What?
these Final Fantasy characters
They
are
look
kind
like
of like
antennas.
they're
Like,
pushing my suspension of disbelief here.
she makes me think of that girl from
Mantis.
Yeah, Mantis. There we are.
yeah, and then you have Vexen on the right, who is number 4, the chilly academic.
Is that you? The chilly academic.
Okay,
So-
but is that a sword or a shield or some
It's a
combination
shield.
of the two?
It's a shield.
It's a yes.
It's technically supposed to be a shield.
Does he use it like a sword?
He just hits you with it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
assume he just kind of backhands you with it.
So
Okay.
you also fight a special villain created by Vexen and reprogrammed by Nominee to be loyal to Nominee. And this is Repliku or Replica Riku. Literally just a replica of
Looks
Riku,
even edgier
Why?
than before.
but we call him Repliku.
Replica.
I like the sword because it's a Batwing.
Yeah, the sword's kind of edgy.
Which
Where is he
more
getting
than a
these?
Nightwing kind of
Why is
deal.
he so ripped, Frankie?
Okay, to be fair, at least he has a shirt on now.
Wait. Look, he's wearing platform.
Why?
He's wearing that.
His platform shoes.
Why does Kingdom Hearts think that 12-year-olds are ripped?
I don't know.
I want to see the 12-year-olds they're using as visual
Examples,
aids
yeah.
for this.
So, in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's a fat one.
Oh yeah, there's one
fat one.
One fat one.
Well, and let me guess, one token girl per game.
The rest are ripped as fuck.
Well, Kyrie's the girl, but in the group that we'll get to them later. So, meanwhile, Riku is also fucking about. So he's in the realm of darkness, remember? He's in the realm of darkness. But he rejects to do the peaceful sleep that usually happens when you enter the realm of darkness. So instead, he's pulled through the corridor of darkness.
Terrible names.
Gotta go down the spooky hallway, guys.
These writers use their children to come up with names.
And it takes him...
And they just went with it.
It takes him to the basement of Castle Oblivion.
I thought you were going to say the basement of darkness. I was about to be like, no.
So he's making his way through the basement of the castle with King Mickey,
As he do.
while fending off the temptations of Ansem, who has left a piece of himself within Riku's heart,
That's also very typical JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
and wants Riku to return to being his host. So Riku also fights Vexen, who shield dude,
Shield dude.
but he also fights Lexius and Zexion.
Terrible names.
Zexion.
So Lexius is the one on the left, and he is number 5, and he is the silent hero.
What is he holding?
What is
it kind of
that?
looks like
It is an axe sword.
It kind of looks like the kind of wrench that you use to work on your sink.
Why does everyone got Monster Hunter weapons, but they're seen Monster Hunter weapons?
And Zexion is number 6, and he's the cloaked schemer.
He just has
He
a
has a
book.
book.
Please tell me he just
Yeah.
throws the
He's
book
probably
at you.
It's
like a
called the
magician.
Book of Retribution.
Oh, that's so stupid. Yeah, he looks like your typical mage villain.
And so they also have another replica Riku that's fighting Riku, as long as replica Riku that's fighting Sora. So there's 3 Rikus. 3 Rikus.
Was he so
That
popular
would be-
they needed to make more of him?
Well, yeah, he's ripped and he didn't have a shirt on.
And they want to use Riku as a weapon to counter Marluxia's use of Sora as a weapon. So
Wait, I thought they were all in the same thing.
they are all in the same organization.
Why are they fighting like
Because
this?
there's 13 of them. You expect to control 12 other people.
I mean, yes.
I mean, if you're all in one organization, shouldn't you work towards the same
Shouldn't
goal?
you all have a shared vision? Look at
They
that
do.
senior
They have a
face
shared
over.
vision, but they don't know how to get to the goal.
So
the
they just
vision.
fight each other for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, they're not fighting each other. They're just going, well, my way is better than your way, so we're doing it my way.
They don't know the
This is
meaning of the
dumb.
word
There's no
compromise.
central leadership in this 13.
There is a leader. We'll meet him later.
He's
Well,
a
that means
terrible
fighting
leader.
her.
He needs to get his crap together.
Because
Oh, God.
he's going to confuse you even more.
I am already
God's above,
lost.
Frankie, why are you doing this?
I was
It's fine.
confused after the slide that said darkness is bad. I'm like,
Okay. So Riku discovers, though, that all of those temptations that Ansem has been feeding him were not actually all made by Ansem. Some of them were made by Diz, spelled D-I-Z.
Okay.
But the D is capital, and the I is lowercase, and the Z is capital.
Oh, so I
Go
think
fuck yourself.
it looks like
What
an
does it stand for
Imperial-
anything, or does
it
he
looks
just
like an Imperial trooper.
letters?
He looks. I don't even.
We'll learn more about Diz later.
He looks like he's got a bunch
The
of shit. wrapped around
DIZ
his face.
the DIZ does stand for something. It stands for Darkness in Zero.
Fuck you! That's so stupid!
Why?
And so Diz has been testing Riku as Ansem, disguising himself as Ansem, to test Riku and his resistance to the power of darkness.
He looks like he's from Prince of Persia, not Final Fantasy.
Okay, he kind of almost looks like he'd belong with
So this is-
Sheikah from Legend of Zelda.
Mhm.
What's with the face?
That's disguising who he really is.
God,
Because he's not really someone named Diz. He has another name, but that's going to confuse you even more at this point, so I'm going to leave
He kind
it.
of
Well,
looks like the
looks like-
villain from the new game that I started playing called Closers. He literally, the dude, his face just covered like that.
He looks like Mr. X, like a red version of Mr.
oh my
X from
gosh,
Resident
yes, he
Evil
does.
2.
He does.
It looks like
Maybe.
there's a belt on his head.
And there is a belt on his head.
Okay.
Who gets up in the morning and decides to dress like this?
Okay, I know.
Good
Okay,
question.
you know what? JRPGs are well known for having belts in unnecessary places, but that is the most unnecessary belt I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've played a lot of JRPGs.
It's actually, you might not be able to see the detail. I went on to his page. It's 2 intersecting belts.
See, that's why
One around his head and one over where the left eye should be.
So how does he
So
sing?
he doesn't.
His right eye is exposed.
So he's like the edgy dude with the eye patch.
So he has one
He
eye
wanted to be
exposed
extra.
and his mouth exposed.
I.
So he can talk to you as well. So he can piss you off. So we're back to Sora now.
Okay.
Now,
Thank
when you
God.
play the game, you go through Sora's journey and then you go through Riku's journey. They're occurring at the same time, but you play Sora all the way through, then you play Riku all the way through.
Okay.
But I'm reading the story because they're happening concurrently.
Okay.
And this is all with the card game.
Yeah.
Remember
This is
that.
all in one game, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
shit.
at the end of his journey, Sora defeats Marluxia, if you remember the one who wants to become Kairi in his memories.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
weird pedophile.
And frees Naminé and Repliku. And
We're gonna change his name. That doesn't
that's his name, it's Repliku.
No.
So, but Sora's memory's been damaged along the way, obviously. So Naminé offers to restore his memories, but it means he will forget everything that happened in the castle, and it'll take a long time. A year.
Oh god.
Basically a year. So Sora,
Yes, it-
Donald, and Goofy agree to this and rest in memory pods
Oh my-
provided by Naminé.
Oh my god.
Repliku, though, chooses to reject that and leaves to find his own purpose.
Find purpose in
He
life.
wants to prove that he's his own person, so he's persuaded by Axel
Well,
to
guess
slay
what? You're a clone.
Zexion, who's the one with the book, in order to take his power. But he's disappointed when it doesn't make him feel any different.
Revenge never feels good.
So then Riku, regular Riku, real Riku, following the advice from Diz to seek Naminé, runs into Repliku at the Twilight Town basement. And in a rage, the Repliku challenges Riku to a fight to the death.
Bet you the Riku wins.
And Riku wins
Oh,
and
that's fine.
tries to comfort the suffering replica as he fades away.
Can I just say that like clones and RPG and JRPGs are also super common? Like it's so fucking common that it makes no sense a lot of times in fantasy like tropes to me because it's like here's this magical clone and I'm like, how'd you make that? Why'd you make that?
Magic, cause I can.
So after that, Riku finds Naminé, and Naminé explains the situation with Sora. And Naminé offers to manipulate Riku's memories in order to lock Ansem away forever, but Riku declines and says he's going to confront Ansem on his own. So he emerges from the basement, and Diz presents him with one of the black coats. So, the black coats, while they are all worn by Organization 13, Mickey also has one. And Riku ends up having one. They are not inherently evil. They are used to protect yourself from the darkness, so you're not overtaken by darkness.
Okay.
That's all they're used for. But Organization 13, so they just all wear them because they look
Because it looks
fucking
edgy.
cool. Yeah.
It's gonna be edgy, motherfuckers. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So, Riku summons Ansem from his heart and defeats him.
That's it.
Yay.
Yeah,
So you can just.
but somehow Riku now ends up looking like Ansem in the black cloak, but he's got a blindfold on.
Wait, so
Wait,
he's the
okay.
big buff thing again?
Yeah,
God damn it!
but he's got a shirt on. He's got a shirt on.
Okay.
It's gonna be like, put your shirt back
But
on.
he's still 12.
Yeah. So after he defeats Ansem, Riku and Mickey go to the crossroads outside the castle where Diz appears again and says to Riku, will you be following the road of light or the road to darkness? And Riku says, I'm following the road to dawn, and just fucking goes down the middle. And then a year
Turn around and walk backwards.
later,
Dun, dun, dun.
Roxas wakes up on a clock tower at Twilight Town.
Who the fuck is Roxas?
That is Roxas. Now, Roxas looks a little bit like Sora,
Yeah?
but he's not Sora. He's Roxas.
Are those Keyblades?
Is it a
Those are
guy or a girl?
Keyblades.
It's very
Roxas
hard.
is a boy. Now, Roxas is dual-wielding Keyblades.
Because that is a very feminine chin right there.
So
Final Fantasy does that.
we're going to explain Roxas because the next game that came out,
So that was the end of game 2.
that was the end of game 2.
Oh, thank God.
Oh
that was
my
terrible.
Now,
God.
the next game that came out was actually Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2005. But we don't have fucking time for that because we gotta explain who this fuck is. So, we go to a game that was actually released in 2009 called Kingdom Hearts
5 years after that.
358 over 2 days.
Oh, my favorite one. I love the title of this one. It's
This
the
one-
stupidest shit I've ever heard.
58 over 2.
Days.
Days.
Yep.
It is the 5th game, or as some people say it's pronounced, Kingdom Hearts 358 days over 2.
Fuck you. It's not how you say it. I disagree. I've never played this game, but I disagree with
Because
What's the
because
significance of the
because
numbers?
because you every day you play through 358 days with 2 characters. So you go on a mission with a partner character every day. You're on a mission, and it's 358 days. This game is on the Nintendo DS. All right, here we go.
Great. So we're still on the Nintendo handheld.
Yes.
Yeah, this is on the
Systems.
Nintendo DS because why not?
Because
But no
fuck you.
cards.
No cards.
All right.
And when it was re-released on the 1.5 pack, they were like, fuck it, we're not making this a game that's playable, and they just rezzed up the fucking cutscenes and let that play as a movie.
Okay. I mean, to be fair.
So if you want to play the game, you have to play the original DS version.
To be fair, Final Fantasy just made a bunch of movies out of their games too, in really bad CG.
Let's
So-
do an actual movie after this.
So Kingdom Hearts,
Ooh,
this one is the events of Roxas, the story of Roxas before the events of Kingdom Hearts 2. So that's where it takes place in the timeline.
Okay.
It takes place right after in the middle of the first Kingdom Hearts games, through Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories,
Okay.
up to Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oof.
But was released after.
But was released after Kingdom Hearts 2, and there's also another game in between Kingdom Hearts 2 and this game.
You know, for the next one, you might want to get us an image of the timeline with all the games.
Please.
So, now remember, Sora lost his heart in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, he
First one.
He did do that.
Yeah, he seppuku'd himself
He's
and
a
lost
seppuku.
his heart. And he
Does
formed a
actually-
nobody.
Does he magically get
Nobody.
it back in this game?
Well, he's already gotten it back, but this is Sora's nobody, Roxas.
But he has his body. Frankie, this is so stupid. I hate this
Yeah,
so much.
now remember, once you get your heart back, you're supposed to not have nobody anymore. But you can only get your heart back by destroying the Heartless and the Nobody. But only the Heartless was destroyed and not the Nobody. But Nobodies didn't exist yet. So they were like, fuck it, Sora's around. But then they created the Nobodies and they were like, fuck, Sora would have a Nobody. So here's Roxas. But wait a second, what do we do? Because Roxas can't actually exist because Sora still exists. But Roxas does exist.
Wait.
Also, why does he look
Wait.
so much older and shit? What the
At
fuck?
least give them credit for keeping everything.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of consistency, but come on, guys. No.
So Roxas.
Ah!
He is found in Twilight Town by Xemnas.
Everything's done before?
I don't think so.
Yes, but no.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Ah!
He is the leader of Organization 13.
Okay.
Okay.
See,
He's got a
hey,
very
dude,
Final
you
Fantasy.
So-
need to
He is-
control your group better.
He is number 1. No, this is not Diz.
What?
No, this was part of the 13.
Okay.
No, Diz
No, he
isn't part of the
wasn't.
13.
He
This
was
is outside of the 13.
He was just some rando in a cloak
So this is
giving
number
cryptic
one.
messages.
This is number
to
1, the
12-year-olds.
leader and founder of Organization 13,
Oh,
and he
God.
recruits Roxas as the 13th member of Organization 13.
Wait, so before
So
they
there
were
were 13
13?
and there were... Oh,
Or did someone
no.
drop out?
No.
So they were called 13, but not actually 13.
Ah!
Wait, it gets worse.
Oh, God. Here we go.
No.
So each day he's sent on missions to other worlds to destroy Heartless with the Keyblade and release the captive hearts, because the Heartless have captive hearts. And so the organization are collecting these hearts to fulfill their goal of summoning Kingdom Hearts to become complete beings, because nobodies want hearts.
No, who should have been the real villain in this
Yeah.
game? The Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, she's in the first game.
Missed opportunity.
But you don't fight her. You fight her cards.
Disappointment.
So Roxas is placed under the care of Axel, We all remember Axel,
Yeah,
the clown
Clown
dude with
Clown.
very nice hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they
crazy
become
eyes.
friends. And every day they sit atop the clock tower in Twilight Town and eat sea salt ice cream together.
Friends or friends?
Well, you might think friends because of the way Axel acts about Roxas.
Look, it's Kingdom Hearts. There's plenty of gay ships, I'm sure.
So, you remember when it was called Organization 13?
Yeah.
And they didn't
Not
have
14.
they didn't have 13 members,
There's
and
only
Roxas is the 13th member. Well, now we meet the 14th member of Organization 13. It still says the same name.
Whoa.
Same name.
Terrible name.
Did number 14 exists before number 13?
No. No.
So it was 12
Okay.
and 13 to 14. So they're
Okay,
for
so
one
they
point
keep
in time.
adding. Okay.
And her name is Xeon.
Okay.
Leon.
Now Xeon, or Xeon, how do you want to pronounce it? Xeon is how most people pronounce it. I say Xeon, it sounds better. Her appearance, this is the default appearance of Xeon.
Yep.
I say default because her appearance changes from person to person depending on their relationship with her.
That's like a
Wait,
very
so she's like
basic profile
everyone
of a
sees
person.
her differently?
Yes.
Okay, so she's like okay, that's weird.
Now later, when Axel and several other members are assigned to Castle Oblivion, now this is when Chain of Memories is happening, because remember, they're at Castle Oblivion.
Okay.
Roxas is paired with her as partners, and they begin to bond, and Xeon begins to open up to Roxas, and she begins to reveal more and more that she actually resembles Kyrie.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought when I looked at her. I was like,
And wait, she can wield a Keyblade.
Fuck everyone.
Everybody can.
Anyone who wrote this script, fuck you.
So then, a few days later, Roxas falls into a coma.
How?
This is when Sora is put into the memory pod and put to sleep.
So wait, they're still kind of connected to
They
their
are
sub-
connected to each other.
Okay.
So Roxas awakens.
Somebody's one heart.
So there's a somebody and a nobody, and they're still kind of connected.
Yeah. So Roxas
There's somebody and nobody and something in between.
Roxas wakes up after several weeks and finds that all of the members that were dispatched to Castle Oblivion, except for Axel, were eliminated. They were killed.
They're dead.
Oh, they can't use the D word.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're dead.
It's
So
Disney.
Roxas is lonely because he's friends with these people.
Oh, boo-boo.
So he says that him and Axel and Zion should all spend time together, and they become best friends. And eventually, they include Xeon on their trips to the clock tower, and they eat ice cream together. Remember, I told you at the lunch that ice cream was super important to the story. Yeah, ice cream.
Wait,
The villains eat ice cream together on the
So
clock
Axel's
tower
in the
stuff.
castle.
Yeah.
And he's also in this part.
Well, this is after
Okay,
Chain of
this is
Memories.
after
Okay.
Chain of Memories.
Because now Sora's in the memory pod.
Okay, so this game takes place half in and half
This
out.
takes place before, during, and after Chain of Memories.
Okay.
So, Roxas then begins to experience Sora's memories.
Oh god.
And he gets frustrated when he asks questions and no one can answer them. So then he starts
Yeah.
becoming curious about why he wields a Keyblade and starts doubting the organization.
Well, they can't even get their numbers straight.
Yeah.
Well, now they're down to like 5 at this
Yeah, so
point.
now it's just
So meanwhile, Sora, who is still sleeping, is moved from Castle Oblivion to Twilight Town by Diz and Naminé, who are overseeing the restoration of his memories. Zion then has a confrontation with Riku, who brings her identity and the authenticity of her Keyblade into question, and suggests that she leave the organization to merge with her original self.
okay. Wait. Oh, never mind.
He is assuming that she is a nobody,
okay.
because all of the other members of the organization are nobodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you merge with your original self, you complete them. They become whole.
Okay.
So Xeon, though, is torn between doing so
Assumption.
and staying with Roxas and Axel because they're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you're pointing out that I said assumption of being a nobody.
Yes. Never assume anything.
Never assume anything because Zion, not a nobody. Zion
Murder.
is an imperfect replica of Sora created by Xemnas from Sora's leaking memories. Should Sora, who Xemnas intends to use as part of his plans, if he turns out to be of no use, he can use Zion
Fuck you.
Okay,
Okay, first of all,
canceling this entire franchise.
This
We're
is-
done.
This is supposed to be a children's game, mind you.
Kids game, by the way.
Kids game.
This is more intense than some of the books that I've read.
This is more complicated than the plot of like fucking actual JRPGs, like Tales series. What the hell is
Kids
happening?
game, by the way.
What the hell is happening?
Just a reminder, it is a kids game.
Clearly, it's not.
No, they are, because they're all rated E for everyone, or E10.
These are
Kids game, by the way.
I want to see the kids follow this.
No one's following it. Kids are just playing Disney. Now remember, we're still going through Disney worlds, but none of it fucking matters.
See, okay, this is why I hate Square Enix's games, because their plots are always so fucking stupid.
Now, wait a second. Zion, though, is a clone of Sora. So why does she resemble Kairi?
Yeah, that's
She
great.
resembles Kairi because of Sora's strong memories of Kairi. However,
Is this,
As-
is this a very convoluted way of saying that they had a kid?
because however,
That's what it feels like.
no, because as Name attempts to restore Sora's memories, Zion is also affected to the point where she starts to begin to resemble Sora.
Oh my god.
They had a kid.
So, upon learning this,
May not physically happen.
Zion becomes confused and lost, and so she leaves the organization. And she has a falling out with Roxas and Axel.
Here's the drama.
So then,
Teenage drama.
during a seek and capture mission in Wonderland, Axel and Zigbar
Okay.
find
Who?
Zion.
Were they just running out of names because?
Where did this guy come from?
Zigbar's a member of Organization
Is
13.
that
Where
like
was he this whole time?
Just chilling.
Is that like a belt? Like what am I looking
Those
at?
are knives.
Throwing knives?
They're in his
Mhm.
hand.
He is number
No,
2.
his hand is here. These are on the belt.
He was the second member to join, and he is the free shooter. He uses arrow guns. That's an arrow gun.
Okay.
An arrow gun?
And look at the edgy hoe with the fucking eye patch.
Oh, you'll learn why he has an eye patch and a scar
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
a
say
later
this.
game.
Oh my gosh!
In part 2 of this podcast. Because we ain't getting to that game tonight.
This is a lot.
This is
So-
a lot.
So, suddenly, as Zigbar prepares to fight her, he sees the appearance of Ventus. I'm not showing you a picture of Ventus, because Ventus is a character from a different game, who we'll get into more. But you're going to notice something about Ventus when we do see him. You're going to notice something super similar to another character.
Probably Riku or Sora.
So suddenly, while Zigbar is distracted, Zion appears and takes down Zigbar easily. Axel then questions what just happened. And then later, Roxas defects from Organization 13, upsetting Axel. So then, Zion is reprogrammed by Xemnas, and she attempts to absorb Roxas and become whole. And this means that the real Sora will never awaken, because Roxas has to be absorbed by Sora for Sora to wake up.
Oh my god.
So she-
Dumb.
She confronts him on the clock tower, where she reveals that she has Sora's face.
I
So
I'm picturing this in my mind and it looks horrifying.
See, I'm going to Criminal Minds and thinking.
I'm just like
She's
looking.
cut off Sora's face and put it on.
Just slapped it on there.
Well, what's worse is I know for a fact that Kingdom Hearts has some like uncanny valley animation and shit going on. So I'm just like
No,
picturing
literally,
this and
like-
I'm like, how many kids did this scar?
I'm literally picturing like her pulling off a mask and Roxas just basically looking at himself, and I'm like.
So Roxas battles and defeats Zion, whose body begins to crystallize, and he begins to forget who she is. And so Zion pleads for him to set Kingdom Hearts free and stop Xemnas, and just before she dies, Roxas is able to remember how they always ate ice cream together.
Fuck you.
Oh my god.
Take your ice cream and shove it up your ass.
I bet you that ice cream is a metaphor for something.
No, it's not. They literally, there's like endless amounts of cutscenes of them just eating ice cream.
Yeah.
That is also something
Yeah,
I've seen up from this game. Is
Kids
like
won't understand it,
screenshots.
adults do.
So then she completely crystallizes and turns into a blinding light, and the memories she absorbed go back to Sora.
So she was good.
And she leaves nothing but a single seashell behind.
So is that why Sora's memories were being corrupted? Because they were.
Well, no, Naminé was corrupting the memories.
Okay.
But they're trying to, like, fix his memories. But Xemnas created Zion to siphon off the memories.
Their names are too
So
similar,
they're
and
not-
I forgot.
yeah,
who you're talking about. It's fine. I don't care enough. For
So
you to try to
Roxas
figure it out.
then inherits Zion's Keyblade, meaning he has 2 Keyblades. Remember how Riku
Okay.
found him?
Okay.
Found a mysterious young boy wielding 2 Keyblades? That is
Yeah.
Roxas.
Okay.
So,
They come full circle.
Yeah. afterwards,
This is a very convoluted circle.
We're only,
afterwards-
like 3 games in. Too.
I'm crying.
after this, Roxas encounters and fights Riku, who was sent by Diz to capture Roxas so he can be merged with Sora and complete the restoration of Sora's memories. Riku is nearly defeated, but he taps into his darkness,
Okay.
granting him the power to defeat Roxas, but also giving him the appearance of Ansem again. So yeah, now he's Ansem again.
So edgy shirtless boy again.
Yeah. Yes.
Or does he still have the shirt?
So
They're not too sure.
this is
That's
what
the question.
this is what no, he has a shirt. He has a shirt on.
Okay, thank God.
This is when he's blind now. He has like a blindfold on.
Okay.
He's not actually
So
blind,
this
but
is
he's
Bird
blinding
Box
himself.
before
Yeah.
Bird Box.
So then
Oh, Bird Box.
he brings this unconscious Roxas back to Diz, who digitizes him and places him into a virtual Twilight
Diz-
Town.
Digitizes.
Little monsters.
Yeah, now we're Digimon. We were already Yu-Gi-Oh! Now we're Digimon.
Yeah.
So Roxas wakes up in his bed in the virtual town after having another dream about Sora, and his memories are altered by Diz to forget his time with Organization 13. He changes his clothes and runs outside to the usual spot, wondering if he, Hayner, Pence, and Olette will finally go to the beach. Leading to Kingdom Hearts 2, which we will go to now. Now, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out 4 years before this game. So, you're going from Kingdom Hearts Chains of Memories into Kingdom Hearts 2, if you're
Without
playing them
all
as they
that
came
context.
out, without all that context. So you have no idea what the fuck is happening when you boot up the game and you're playing as this kid. That's not Sora. That's Roxas when you wake up in Kingdom Hearts 2. But you're like, who the fuck is this kid that kind of looks like Sora but isn't Sora?
It's Sora's love child.
He's a sorta.
He's a Sora. He's a sorta.
Yeah, he is. So at this point, we have had 3 Rikus
Yep. Too many.
and 2 Soras. Well, if you count Zion, 3
3
Soras.
3 Soras.
And if you count Kyrie, we've had 3 Kyries because we have Naminé, who we find out later is a version of Kyrie.
Fuck you.
Kyrie and Zion, who is also looking like Kyrie, like kind of Kyrie because it's like memories of Kyrie, so kind of Kyrie.
So it's Kyrie and Sora's memories love child.
Yeah.
Sortas and kinda.
Exactly
What do you call it? Rikus. Replicas. So, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yes.
We have Roxas. And we're hanging out. This is summer vacation, so he's hanging out with his friends, Hayner, Pence, and Olette.
Who?
Limos.
Okay. One
Wait,
at a
wait,
time.
that looks like the kid from Toy Story.
Yeah, he kind of does.
The fuck is that kid's hair?
That's Hayner.
That's Hayner.
Hayner's the one on the top.
And I'm talking about the kid with the headband who looks like
That's
it's just
Pence.
exploding out of his
That's
headband.
Pence, and then Olette is the girl.
What do you mean? That's like typical Asian hairdo. Just
No, that's pretty bad.
I mean, I've seen somebody who has hair similar to that in another game that I've been trying to like remember. I don't know.
So they hang out and you do a bunch of bullshit with them. This is like not even. This is the beginning of the game. This is like the prologue of the game, and it's 3 hours long.
God, that's
3
so
hours
dumb.
of cutscenes or 3 hours of playtime?
There's some gameplay, but it's 3 hours, and then you get into the real game, which is Sora.
So
Because you do play as Sora in this
Can you
game.
imagine
How
though,
long is this game?
reading a book and the prologue takes you 3 hours to read? Like, I don't think I'd make it.
And 3 hours is like if you know exactly what to do, where to go, when to do it.
That's a
So you
JRPG
mean
for you.
So you mean literally about 8 hours of prologue?
Yeah.
You mean The Hobbit to Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, pretty much.
So eventually, Sora or Roxas obtains the Keyblade again, and
Sort of.
he begins fighting the nobodies, the white creature.
So does the
nobodies.
dude like
Yeah.
spawn again in the cave? Like
No.
presents
There's no cave. So Roxas then comes in contact with a young man wearing black named Axel.
Yep.
And
God, here we
Axel
go.
knows Roxas, but Roxas doesn't remember him. Because remember, his memories were altered by Diz.
This
Yeah.
poor bromance.
Now, Roxas eventually makes his way into an abandoned mansion, where a girl named Naminé
Fuck you.
here we go.
informs him that he is a nobody. Finally, Diz shows up, and Roxas discovers Sora, Donald, and Goofy sleeping in the hidden basement of the mansion, where they have been regaining their memories for a fucking year. So Roxas merges with Sora, and Sora and his friends finally wake up. Now, I did forget to mention one character who's been following Sora and them around the entire time.
A stalker.
No, he's a friend. Jiminy
Stalker.
Cricket. Jiminy Cricket, who's keeping a journal of all the adventures, finds that his journal is now blank,
Gaspoo.
except for one message. Thank Nomine. And Jiminy,
Nominate for my nomination.
Jiminy put that in there as a clue to their adventure in Castle Oblivion, because remember, once they wake up from this, they won't remember anything that happened.
Wait, but does Jiminy Cricket still remember everything that he wrote in his book?
No, he is confused as to why he wrote Thank Nomine.
Okay.
Glad we're all
So
confused.
they begin their journey and arrive in the real Twilight Town. Because Twilight Town we were in before, remember, was the digital version of Twilight Town that Diz put Roxas into.
Why?
So in the real Twilight Town, they cross paths with King Mickey, who orders them.
Oh, wait, so he's out of the realm of darkness?
Yeah, orders them to board a train. At the train station. At the train station, they run into Hayner, Pence, and Olette, and they say goodbye to Sora, and Sora starts to cry.
But he doesn't know why.
Because of Roxas inside of him. But he does not know why he's crying.
Yeah,
The audience knows.
Now he has the person inside of him. Yes, but no, but kind of. But
Yes! There's more than one person inside of him. We'll get to that.
Oh my, this is getting real saucy for
We'll
me.
get to that.
We just hit the smut realm.
We'll get to that in part 2, when we meet another character who's also inside of Sora. So, the train takes them to the mysterious tower, where they meet Maleficent's new assistant.
I'm waiting for like this.
I'm waiting for
Big
replica.
I can see who it is.
No,
I'm
I'm waiting for a big
excited.
disappointment.
It's my Pete.
I was waiting for replica.
Look at his crotch zipper.
Now, Maleficent's been destroyed. Pete's just there. We don't know he's Maleficent's assistant. We're going to find out how Maleficent gets revived. Because it's the dumbest. You thought Organization 13 was dumb. You thought 14 members in this organization that's named after their 13 members was dumb.
That didn't have 13 members to start out with.
Oh, wait. It gets worse. So they speak with former Keyblade Master Yen Sid.
It's the wizard
He
from.
kind of looks like
Merlin.
Dumbledore.
No,
It's
it's
Merlin.
not, because Merlin is a character that is different.
This is the wizard from Fantasia.
This kind of looks like Dumbledore.
Now,
I've seen Fantasia since I was like 5.
Heritage was your name in the Goblet
Yen
of Fire.
Sid's name is just Disney spelled backwards.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
He's also in Epic Mickey too.
So
Never finished that
he
game.
informs the group that they have to visit worlds to protect them from the Heartless and the Nobodies to stop Organization 13, because there's still a couple members hanging about. These
Gonna,
include
find
both
this guy.
old and new places, like Hollow Bastion. They do go back to Hollow Bastion, but Hollow Bastion has been revitalized by all the Final Fantasy characters being allowed to go back. So Sora gets new clothes and powers from Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather.
Of
That's
course.
the fairy godmother.
Now-
He's the real MVPs of all things.
Yen Sid summons the gummy ship for them to use, and they're
God
about
damn
to, and they leave. But Maleficent's Raven shows up with Maleficent's tattered cloak, and the fairies see it, and they remember who Maleficent is, activating the spell to resurrect Maleficent.
What the hell?
Wait, everyone forgot Maleficent?
No, but if they didn't think about Maleficent, Maleficent would be gone.
That's impossible.
But you'd think.
If you tell someone not to think about something, they're instantly.
Well, no, they
gonna
didn't
think
tell them
about
to not think about Maleficent. Maleficent was killed, right?
Yeah.
And so no one. They don't
Well,
think
wait,
about
if
Maleficent.
Pete-
Are you telling me
was
nobody
her
was like,
assistant.
hey,
Well,
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
he
Maleficent?
Pete doesn't count. It has to be someone of good light. It has to be a
Oh,
light
okay.
person. It has to be a good person. And so she tricks them into thinking of Maleficent.
This is stupid and ass-pully, and I hate it.
They're like, hey, Maleficent. And then Maleficent's like, I'm back. Thanks for thinking of
They
me.
could have just been like, oh, she didn't actually die. She just,
No, she straight up died and was resurrected by people thinking about her.
So Sora continues
Do
his
I have
quest.
that power?
Please.
Yeah, Sora continues his quest. and he learns about nobodies and Heartless, and he faces the remaining members of Organization 13.
Are they all dead now?
And he learns about Roxas and how much they have in common, because Roxas is just you dumb bitch. And he also gets the lead that Riku might be alive and out there somewhere, because Sora hasn't interacted with Riku yet.
Yeah.
Or the
Repliku.
Yeah.
He didn't
Then
remember
meanwhile,
that
it's also revealed Kairi has been kidnapped by Axel.
Fucking okay.
So
Yeah,
Kairi
she's a damn
is in
gorgeous.
Twilight Town
She wasn't.
and gets kidnapped by
She's
Axel and taken into a portal. So then the Heartless, led by two separate groups, one by Maleficent and Pete, and the other by the Organization, regain power, and there's a massive battle where you literally fight an army of Heartless, which is really cool in the game.
Welcome to World War Disney.
Along the way,
Lord.
they learn, okay, are you ready to not understand?
I haven't
anything.
understood
Okay.
anything, so
I'm
we're
already
done.
there, so we're
We're
fine.
done.
Okay.
Lay it on me, Square Enix.
Okay. Now, y'all remember Ansem, shirtless dude from
Yeah.
the first game that you
Yes.
fought and you killed.
Yeah.
Now he was the Heartless of objectively evil-looking man, Xehanort. Just look at him.
Okay.
He just objectively looks like a villain.
Yeah,
What does he look
it's
like?
definitely the beard, I
Question:
think. It's-
Why don't the
I
nobodies
don't know.
just keep their real names from when they were somebodies?
We'll get to that.
Oh, fuck you.
So, and that the nobody of Xehanort, Xemnas, is the leader of Organization 13.
Of course he is.
They also learn that Xehanort was an apprentice of the real Ansem. So that Ansem that we fought isn't the real Ansem. It was the Heartless of Xehanort who named himself Ansem.
Why? So what happened to the real Ansem?
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I hate this so much.
Me too.
Who is missing? So the real Ansem's missing. Xehanort was his apprentice. And Xehanort made himself into a Heartless who named himself Ansem, and the nobody who named himself Xemnas. So, after the battle, Xemnas appears and leaves with a cryptic note that King Mickey knows where Riku is, and then he disappears. And then another member of the organization, Sykes, the musician, appears before the group and reveals...
Please tell me he's like Ember from
Is-
Danny Phantom and just guitar riffs.
Is that a sword or a staff?
It is a claymore.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Okay.
That helps.
It's a
It's
giant
a type
sword.
of sword.
Here, I'll
A
get
claymore
that
is
picture.
just a
And
huge ass sword.
he's number 7 in the organization, known as
Okay.
the
I thought they were all
Luna
dead.
Diviner. No, not all of them, because we didn't meet him until just now. So, he reveals that their ultimate goal is to have Sora kill all the Heartless, freeing the hearts to create an artificial Kingdom Hearts, a doorway to the heart of all worlds that will allow the nobodies to get their hearts back,
Okay.
because they want their hearts back.
I mean, that doesn't
That
sound
doesn't
that
sound
evil.
terrible.
Hearts to be
Because they want to feel emotions.
Yeah, that doesn't
Okay.
They
sound
already feel emotions.
No, they
They don't feel emotions.
They just-
No. They
They-
don't feel emotions. They just express them.
but they are evil, because that's not actually what they want.
But I thought that's okay. That's not that evil. That's
No.
like
Well,
valid.
that's what they're saying what they want, but like
Okay.
that's what the other members want, but Xemnas ain't about that shit.
Okay.
Xemnas just wants to fucking destroy everything.
He
Okay.
wants
So
to
he's-
steal all the hearts. make
He's a
this giant
stereotypical
weapon that
villain who
destroys
literally
the
just wants to
world.
destroy the world.
Now, after confronting and defeating more members of the organization, including Axel, Sora goes
Axel's
to
gone.
the world that never was
Me too.
to settle the score
It
with
just
the
is.
organization for good. Now, Sora blanks out briefly,
As you do.
and he battles Roxas.
Okay.
Ugh.
This is Bleach again, I guess.
And in the castle,
Kind of sounds like the water temple from Legend of Zelda, where you gotta battle your evil
so
self.
they get to the castle, and he reunites with Riku and Kairi, and Riku is still in Anson's body, remember?
At least
that
he's
must
got
be
a shirt
super
on, though.
awkward. There's like two 12-year-olds. I'm so happy to see you. Tall buff man. Oh, Sora. It's been so long.
Now,
That's some love triangle right there.
Now, Sora learns the truth about Roxas as well, that he and Naminé are respectively Sora and Kairi's nobodies, created when they lost their hearts in the original Kingdom Hearts game. So Roxas is Sora's nobody, Naminé is Kairi's nobody.
Okay.
Now, there's no Heartless for Kairi, because Kairi's a Princess of Heart. There's no darkness, so no Heartless can be created.
Note to self: never lose your heart.
I'd
So
rip
then-
mine out and just say hell with it.
They cross paths with Mickey, Xemnas, and and Diz, who is
This guy.
Diz, who reveals himself to be Ansem the Wise,
What?
the original Ansem,
Oh my
who
God.
Xehanort was the disciple of,
Wait.
who then, when he turned himself into a Heartless, became Ansem the Heartless and Xemnas the Nobody.
I'm not even surprised
Okay.
anymore. I'm like,
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
okay,
so there's
that makes
him
sense.
actually.
I guess.
There's actual
Heartless.
Ansem.
And
Well, here's the thing. There's actual Ansem.
Yeah.
Ansem the Wise. Good
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
All around, nice dude.
Yeah.
Who likes to, dress in bondage once in a while.
Well, we know who he's into.
He's a gift. It's
All
fine.
around good dude. Then you
Yeah.
have his disciple, Xehanort, who is that all around evil dude who just looks evil.
Yeah.
Who,
Evil apprentice.
Yeah, who turned himself into a Heartless named Ansem
Okay.
and a nobody named Xemnas.
Okay. That makes sense.
Xemnas, by the way, spelled with an X. Xemnas. All
With the
of
letter X.
the nobodies have the letter X in their name.
Of course
I mean,
they knew.
if you look
How
at
clever.
Roxas,
What
his
clever
name is literally
writers we
Sora's
are.
name mixed up, and you just throw an X in there.
I was
You
about
fig-
to say.
You figured out how they name all the nobodies.
Yeah. It,
Well, what about Nominee?
okay, no wait. I figured.
Nominate's different because she comes from a princess
It's a
heart.
silent X.
there is no X in her name, but she's different because she comes from a princess of heart.
Okay.
Oh, you're right.
I was just gonna
Roxas is just Sora backwards with an X in the fucking middle
And
of it.
Xemnas is just Ansem scrambled with an X at the beginning.
This is the stupidest shit. This is getting worse.
Now, wait a second. You might think the X just is a signifier that they're nobodies.
Yeah.
It's not. We're going to learn what the X means in a
Oh
later
my
game.
I was
God.
gonna say, like,
And wait a second. If you were hoping that it made more sense than just being a signifier of being a nobody, you'd be incorrect, and it's much, much worse.
Oh my god.
Alex? What were you going to say?
I forget now.
It's too much.
So.
Oh wait, now I remember. There's gonna be someone with an X in the name who actually isn't nobody.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
The letter X is very important in a later game, and not just in names either. It can just
Oh.
appear and it'll be important.
Oh my god.
So,
So this is the ice cream thing again.
Ansem uses the Kingdom Hearts encoder to try and stop them from building the artificial Kingdom Hearts. But it explodes, apparently killing him
Okay.
and returning Riku to his original form.
Notice he says apparently.
And then Xemnas disappears.
Never assume anything. Never assume anything.
And then Maleficent and Peach show up to hold off a massive Heartless so that Sora's group can fight Xemnas. And then the duo are not seen again.
What duo?
Maleficent and Pete,
I was
yeah.
gonna say Sora's gone now.
So then
Okay.
they defeat
Bye-bye.
Sykes, Zigbar.
Oh, he likes to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh no, that's not Zigbar. Zigbar's the dude with the eye patch. and
Oh
the-
yeah. Okay.
This is Luxord.
Stupid name. He likes to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Luxord is number 10. He's the
Luxord.
gambler of fate.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Luxord.
Well, of course.
And
It's
Card,
just-
it's like
card
a
is
sword.
Lady Luck's game.
He's
so.
just old Gambit. It's just Gambit, but old.
Also, we don't know his original name.
Okay.
Like, we know all other members of the organization. We know what their original names are before they became nobodies and had
But
to...
you can figure it out because you take out the X and use an anagram solver.
You could.
Figure it
We'll
out.
figure it out.
Who is this hoe?
So, only Xemnas is left of Organization 13.
And
So now it's
there-
Organization 1.
No, it's still Organization 13.
And then there was one.
Sora and Riku unite to defeat him. But they're confused how to return back. They don't know how to get back to their world.
Oh wait, so they fused.
No, they unite.
they're
They're
just
confused.
they're
That's
working.
insane.
They're working together, and they're like, "How do we get home? We're 12-year-old boys fighting
Okay.
old men and gods."
And then Nominee shows up with a portal.
With a portal.
And Mickey and Donald and Goofy pass through the portal. And Nominee reunites with Kairi, making Kairi whole. And a projection of Roxas
Fuck off!
reunites.
Projection.
Yeah, reunites with Sora, making Sora whole.
I thought they already did that.
However,
Where did the projection go?
No, see, it was connected but backwards, so it wasn't fully
Yeah.
connected back.
Xemnas is back. He's not dead. And
Stop.
Never assume anything.
I didn't assume, but I was like, stop. Bringing back.
he fuses with the warships like Ansem
Again.
did, and They beat him, and the new Kingdom Hearts is closed. And then Sora and Riku rest on this place called Dark Margin because they're in the realm of darkness.
Wait,
again.
the new Kingdom Hearts? So the new one was
So
The one that they were building.
Yeah.
They did finish it, but then it gets closed.
So how many Kingdom Hearts are there?
There's two.
There was one and two.
Two.
Then.
So now there's going to be a third
Well,
one.
now we're back to one because we're back to only the original
Yeah,
one.
so one, then two, then one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now they're on the Dark Margin, which is like a beach in the realm of darkness towards
So the Dark Realm has beaches.
towards this dark abyss.
How can you suntan if it's dark?
Avoid the night.
So
I can suntan.
Sora and Riku find a bottled letter from Kairi
Message in a bottle.
Hate this so
that
much.
she sent before their reunion. And then, this is a direct quote from the wiki because no one knows how it happened. Somehow, the door to light is opened.
Somehow.
Somehow.
The game designers decided they didn't care anymore. That's
Yeah.
what happened.
And they walk
No,
through.
they were saving that for a later game.
And they walk
They're
through.
going to explain that in a later game.
And they are returned to Destiny Islands. And they're welcomed there by Kairi, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey. And then sometime later, it's just Sora, Riku, and Kairi hanging out, having fun, being friends again.
Eating
And
ice
they
cream.
no, they don't do that. They receive a letter from King Mickey. And that is the end of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
That
We
was
are-
a lot.
So we're done for the night
Okay.
for the first recording session.
Because I don't think my brain can handle it anymore.
So, the next game that we will be looking at is Kingdom Hearts Recoded.
Okay.
And I will tell you the history of that game because it is weird. Then we'll go to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Stupid.
I sleep.
Then we'll
Called Dreaming.
do Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance. And then we will do the final game before Kingdom Hearts 3, which is Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage.
That is the worst name for anything.
It
that's
sounds
ever
like
happened.
literally like they're like Fallout Boy was naming these because I'm like.
And that all of this will lead us to the game people have been waiting 15 years for since
Literally.
Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2005. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, and then a bunch of weird fractions of other games, and then we finally get 3.
No, it was one something else then.
I
two.
blame-
It was
the
one.
way-
Yeah, it was one change. So I will go actually in all of the orders of the games how they came
Okay.
out. Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts Coded, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, Kingdom Hearts
The long one.
Cross.
No.
That's a mobile game. We're not going over. That's a prequel game that happens well before the timeline.
Okay.
You
I'll
always have to have one of those.
I'll tell you what it establishes tomorrow, but it really doesn't establish that much
Okay.
into what the main story of the game is. Then you have the long one, which is Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage, and then you have Kingdom Hearts 3.
I blame Square Enix for the ridiculous naming of these games because even though they basically just numbered most of the Final Fantasy games, they did them completely out of order. So like, I don't know the
Like with
specifics, but
icons
there's
and
like,
skips and everything.
it's like Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 8. Like they're just completely out of order and it makes no sense. And I hate Square Enix and their games.
They just pick whichever number feels best to them, right?
Yes, I guess.
What number do I feel like it's 10?
So-
I'm at 7.
After we've gone through, 4 games in the
guess.
series? Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories, 358 over 2, and 2.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel on a level 1 to 10 of confusion, with 10 being the most confused?
Can I go over 10?
You can go
I'm
over
at,
10
like
if you-
358 over 2.
Okay, I followed you for like the first game.
Yeah, the first game is pretty simple.
Yeah, I followed the first game. The second
Okay.
game was definitely the stupidest one.
Chain of Memories?
Yes,
Okay.
in my opinion, the card game one was definitely the worst one.
Yes.
And then after that game, I was like following you, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's happening. This is stupid. After that, I just started to fucking lose it. I was like, what is happening? Who are all these Final Fantasy
feel
characters
like
with ridiculous
They
names?
all sat down in a room and brainstormed, put all the things on the board, and then instead of eliminating the bad ones, they just jammed them all into the game.
No, here's how I think they developed it. First, it was like Disney, and then they sent the script to the Final Fantasy guys, and then they expanded on that, and then they sent it back, but they didn't actually read everything, so they kind of just kept adding without looking back.
Who knows?
So what this entails is that we've introduced the main heroes of the game are finally introduced. They were introduced in the first game.
Yeah.
Actually, not all the main heroes have been introduced yet.
What?
Oh wait, there's more.
I don't want any more.
Sora is what you would call the main hero, but there are
Yes.
what we will learn later is 7 Guardians of Light, and they are the main heroes, like a team of them. And we'll meet the rest of them later. We've met most of them actually at this point. Xehanort is the main villain of the game, because even when the main villain was Ansem and Xemnas, they're just Xehanort.
Yeah.
So Xehanort's the main villain of the game.
Okay.
We're going to learn why Xehanort is the worst, the absolute worst, and why he confuses the game even more.
Like, is he the worst because he's that evil, or is he the worst just because it's dumb?
Both.
Okay.
That's
He rolls in
Absolutely
both
both.
categories.
Absolutely both, because I will warn you, he involves time travel
Oh, I hate time travel so much.
and reincarnation and possession.
Oh
The other two I can handle, but time travel, you put time travel in a game, you're
You
gonna
put
fuck
time
the
travel
whole
on
game
this
up.
already screwed up.
Yeah.
And
Can we
I
just
mean-
time travel and prevent all of this from happening?
No,
No.
because it's the only way time travel works is multiverse theory. You can't just throw it in something and be like, time travel! No! Follow the rules!
we also have
Tell that to them.
Tell that to Legend of
Follow
Zelda.
your rules.
we've also lost Organization 13. So rest in peace to
It's not like
Never assume
Organization
anything.
1.
well, no, we did lose Organization 13. We will,
Have
however,
you played the
be
newest game?
no. Here's the thing.
Never assume anything.
Let me tell you, we did lose Organization 13. We will be meeting the real Organization 13,
No
which
way.
is what they call themselves.
Fuck you!
Oh God! No!
Never assume anything.
No!
And
No!
wait till you meet the members of that
I'm not
organization.
ready.
And let me tell you, there's only 12.
God
Why
damn
is
it!
it 13 then?
Nobody can count!
There's not
It's
enough
like that one mind trick
numbers.
that people can do where you can skip number 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 5. What?
6. Yeah. So you just skip it. You just skip a number, and you
Skip a
have
number.
13. We're gonna tomorrow when we record it, because we're recording tomorrow. The second part, you will learn what Nording is.
Nording?
Nording.
Is that like hoarding but with Norse gods?
No, it's with Vikings.
Vikings.
You're
I
gonna-
hoard Vikings. I have a whole room of them.
You're gonna learn about digital Sora.
Digital Sora.
You're gonna learn about Aqua.
Just Aqua?
Aqua.
There's water.
Yep.
You're gonna learn about Terra.
The earth.
Water, Earth,
You're gonna learn about.
Fire.
You're gonna learn about Ventus.
Is this the
That's
Avatar?
fair.
Look at that, it's gonna be Bakugan.
Go
like,
ahead,
I'm
say
ready
the
for this.
fire one's name.
That's all. There's only 3 of them.
I hate this so much!
I was waiting for some like Bakugan shit or like.
Everyone who has ever worked on Kingdom Hearts, I fucking hate you so much.
You
You're
should all be
terrible
fired.
game makers.
I'm gonna go back in time just eliminate all of them and save us this trouble.
And I think those are the biggest things that'll be developments for the game. Oh, you're gonna learn about the test of mastery, the mark of mastery,
Oh my god.
and how to become a Keyblade master.
Okay, here's the other things that I need. I need like one of those like timelines of the game put, like stacked
Okay.
on top of each other.
No,
so
okay,
like,
you know
the
that
progression
meme with the
off
guy
or
pointing at the board with like all the papers everywhere? This is what you're doing right now. This is you. You're
Yeah,
like,
that's basically Kingdom Hearts in a
that's
nutshell.
basically what
And
Frank
the
was
other
doing.
thing-
He's going, and we're all like,
The other thing I want to know is how profitable were these games?
Okay, so I can go over that.
The fan base is very rabid, I can tell you that. So, like, I spend a lot of time on Tumblr. I follow some people who like Kingdom Hearts, and even just, like, the littlest bits that I see from them, they are a rabid fan base. Like, you know, I've seen pictures of people going to pick the game up in full cosplay. Like, they're like Harry Potter rabid fan base.
I mean, to be fair, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of casually rapid. I mean, whenever we went to go see the movie The Dark Side of Dimensions, there were like several people that showed up in full cosplay to the theater. I was like, okay. You guys need to calm down.
I've honestly gotten sick of all the Kingdom Hearts 3 memes I've seen like on my dashboard. Like, I don't know any of these people. I don't give a shit.
I mean, okay, so I'm friends with Neil on Facebook, and he literally had the game for 28 hours, and he had already played 18 hours into the game, and he had not gone classes that day. Like, he skipped classes in law school to play the game.
Yeah, so that's the level of rabid fan base.
You mean weaving?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm tempted to skip class and just play Civ all day.
So that will do it for this first episode of the Kingdom Hearts Part 1 for the podcast.
Confusion.
Part 1 of confusion. So Part 2 tomorrow we'll go over the final 4 games before Kingdom Hearts 3.
I think I understand OChem more than I understand this.
And we're going to confuse everyone even more with the concepts of Nording. So goodbye, and we'll see you when we upload the second part of this video.
Bye.
See ya.